Do you know what the Department of Agriculture Commissioner does? What about your food? Are we exporting it? Are we importing it? What's going on in the state of Tennessee when it comes to agriculture? Hey, I've got the Tennessee Department of Agriculture Commissioner, Andy Holt, going to be live with us tonight, talking to us about what he does and what's going on in the great state of Tennessee when it comes to agriculture. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
The Mike Weatherford Show is proud to announce we are now officially powered by TEC. If their fiber optic internet service can handle everything we throw at it here in the studio, from videos to calls and live streams, you better believe they can handle your home or business too. If speed, stability, and service is important to you, you can count on TEC. Thanks, TEC. Now let's get to the show.
Recorded live in the studios of Brewer Street Mafia. This is a Red Dog Bread production.
And now, your number one rated show, The Mike Weatherford Show. Here's your host, Mike Weatherford.
Hey, welcome back to the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm your host, Mike Weatherford. I got a show tonight that I think everybody wants to talk about. It's agriculture. You've been to the grocery store, you've seen the prices, and is there shortages? What about the tariffs? What's going on in the great state of Tennessee when it comes to our agriculture? We got the Commissioner of the Department of Ag for the state of Tennessee, Andy Holt, in here live. We're going to be talking with him and finding out what he does about the agriculture, the forestry, and everything across the great state of Tennessee. We're going to be finding out about what happens when we go to the grocery store, what it takes to get Tennessee products to the shelves, and what's going on across our great state. He's finally back from Ireland, the one and only Mr. Pepsi Cola himself, Ricky Price. Welcome back, Mr. Ireland.
Tally ho, Mike.
Is it
top of the afternoon to you, my friend.
Oh, how are you doing?
Mate, I'm doing simply marvelous. How are you doing, Mike?
You got to learn how to talk now.
Oh, I tell you, tally ho, my friend. So
I'll ask you something. When you wore your kilt, did you wear any drawers under it?
You know, Mike, that's for another show.
Well, I mean,
hey, it's not drawers. It was commando.
Oh, well.
It's commando, Mike.
In the South, in Tennessee, where I live in Hico, which is God's country, we call it drawers.
Called running through the woods.
Well, we might do that too. Let's find out what. Look here. Look right here.
Oh.
Nice.
Andy.
Look at that right there. Oh, that's styling and profiling. Look at that.
Oh,
You better be glad I wasn't there. I'd have jerked that kilt up. Look at that.
Andy, you didn't know you're going to get this kind of treatment tonight, did you?
That is something right there. But inquiring minds want to know.
Yes.
Draws or no draws?
The lady over there says commando.
Oh,
okay. She said, hey, mate, make sure if you're wearing that kilt, you go commando.
Okay. That's all I want to know.
Hey,
you're going to come in one day. You got a lot of pictures, a lot of stories about Ireland.
Yes, I do.
I want you to come back and give out all that information to me.
I look forward to it. It was a very educational trip.
Right.
Andy's here tonight. Grow a lot of potatoes.
Right.
And so there's
Did they sell Pepsi?
They did.
Wow.
They did. But I got a good education. I'm telling you.
That's what it's all about.
The farms there, the green. Yeah. It's just as green there in Ireland, and I know Andy knows this as well.
It's a big island.
Yes.
Yeah. With no snakes.
No snakes.
Like
yeah.
Hey, and Mike's scared of snakes too.
Yeah.
So.
All right, you ready to get with it?
Let's get with it.
All right, folks, we're going to be talking with Department of Agriculture Commissioner for the state of Tennessee, Mr. Commissioner Andy Holt. Welcome to the show, my friend.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. I got a couple of young boys, 9 and 11, and they have found their love for radio. One built a little radio, and then that inspired his younger brother to get a radio for his birthday. And it's a wind-up radio, so at night they can listen to the wind-up radio as long as they have the will to wind that radio up.
Hey, that's good, man. When I was a kid, they come out with a fancy one. That was called transistor radio. You remember that? And I'd lay and listen to WSM, the Grand Ole Opry up there in Nashville.
The good stuff.
I was a big dog back in the day.
Absolutely.
Hey, welcome to the show. Appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and hanging out with me.
We appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm not far from home. So
Oh, you're Weakley County guy.
Weakley County, we live between Dresden and Palmersville, so not
You're
too
in my
far
neck
away.
of the woods.
Yeah.
I live in Hyco.
Yeah.
You know where Hyco?
That's
Cottage Grove?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we're almost neighbors.
If we ever make anything of ourselves, we'll move over to Cottage Grove.
You will if you ever get good.
So-
Hyco's really when Jesus comes back, he's coming to Hyco.
There you go.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
talking to him the other day about it. He said, Mike, you're in good shape. But Andy and Ricky, I don't know. We'll have that conversation later. Who is Commissioner Andy Holt?
So I'm just a regular old guy, but I tell you what, as I told some folks earlier today at the meeting over at the Rotary, met with the Rotary over in McKenzie, I might be the least likely person in the state of Tennessee to actually be the Commissioner of Agriculture, and there's a reason for that. I didn't grow up in agriculture. I'm a first-generation farmer. Actually grew up in kind of a pretty rough part of Knoxville, across the river from UT Stadium, down the river just a little ways. And, thinking about agriculture and where I got started and to where I'm at right now, it's a long path, but I can really point back to my early elementary school years, and had a teacher there that loved agriculture. She knew I was a struggling reader, and she basically forced me to stay inside. And while everybody else was out playing, I was learning how to read. And she loved agriculture, and because she loved agriculture, she thought everybody should love agriculture. And so, as a young kid, again, having never set foot on a farm, never really been around agriculture at all, it was such an appealing, lifestyle, man. It was equipment and animals and big open fields and stuff that I was not accustomed to as a child. And there was something about that attracted me. And at that early age, I made a decision, despite all odds, I was going to farm.
Wow. Where did you grow up, in Knoxville?
Grew up in Knoxville.
On the other side of the track, sounds like. I know what
Yeah,
you're
a
talking about.
pretty rough spot.
I grew up in West Paris, so we got a lot in common.
West Paris.
I grew up in the hood. It was a rough side of town.
That we actually did grow up very similarly.
We did. I grew up in the side where if we was out riding around and the girl's parents knew where you was from West Paris, you wouldn't let her hang out with you.
Yeah.
So we got a lot more in common. Other than you don't know how to wear your boots, Commissioner.
Well,
You got them flat nose boots. You and Ricky, and I'm the only one got the cowboy boots.
well, so Ricky and I are just a lot younger, I think, and that might
That's right.
be what it
That's
is.
right.
These young
Well,
guys.
I'm
wear those
35
35.
in holding.
And holding.
But it's like times.
Times. Yeah.
But anyway, so how did you migrate? We're going to get to what your job is, which I have no clue. I want to know how you migrated from Knox County to Weakley County and how that happened.
Well, there was a major migration between moving from Knoxville here. I also moved from Knoxville to Wyoming for a few years. So I started off again, raised in town, not much of a prospect on ever really being in agriculture, but in third grade, fourth grade, somewhere in there, my parents started making some better life decisions and living right, honestly. And
Did they have was it a bad life they was living? I mean, I want to get nosy.
I mean, they were probably doing some things and spending some money on some things that maybe they could have.
Well, that
better
might have been your
prioritized.
agriculture.
Well, they got their lives together, and as a result, everything in our house really kind of changed, and we were able to move out of that kind of rough part of town. And
I'm proud to hear that.
We moved. Oh man, and I've got some great parents these days, but we were able to move out of town and move to what I thought as a kid was the country. And really, it was just John Sevier Highway, so it was kind of like not quite the suburbs,
I'm with you.
but it was a little more rural than the suburbs. But man, that gave me the opportunity to change elementary schools. I went to Bonnie Kate Elementary School, and Bonnie Kate had
in Wyoming?
No. This was still in Knoxville. This
Gotcha,
just
okay.
moved to a different part of Knoxville.
Gotcha.
But Bonnie Kate had something that I had never seen before, and that was a 4-H club. And so 4-H was this, youth leadership organization that starts in fourth grade.
Ricky's got his future farmers on.
He's actually bragging is what he's doing. He's just bragging that he can still wear that jacket.
Yeah.
I challenged him.
He can't button it, but he can wear it.
Well, he got pretty close
Did he?
earlier.
Okay.
I think if he really sucked in hard, he might be good. But 4-H helped me learn a lot more about agriculture. It introduced me to public speaking. And from there, it kind of transitioned from 4-H over to FFA.
Correct.
And then when I was between my junior and senior year of high school, once I learned how to read and kind of got kicked into high gear, I figured I'm actually, I can actually do okay in school, and did pretty well, and was able to be in part of Boise State. You ever heard of Boise State?
Yes.
You know what Boise State is?
Yep.
So I went to Boise State, and then when I left Boise State, I can remember this is just clear as a bell. My parents picked me up, and they drove me over to Nashville, and I had made arrangements on having a job in north central Wyoming, and was going out there to work as a cowboy. And it was.
Had you rode a horse yet?
Oh, yeah, I'd been around a few, but I might have padded my resume a little bit, to those folks that own the ranch. But
I understand.
Went out there and worked, and man, it was a great experience, and helped me really see.
That is cowboy country.
It is certainly cowboy country.
Cody, you did.
So
you got
I was
Gray
really
Bull,
close to Cody.
Gray Bull, and you got the Bighorn Mountains.
Okay, so I worked in the Bighorns. Right. So you are talking all of the area That's there. Right. So from Sheridan back over to Grable, and then Grable back over to Cody. That was the area of the world that I lived in.
I've been all over it.
Yeah.
Bighorns, there's 2 routes. You can take the interstate around or be like a dummy like me and go over the top of them. That's that white knuckle drive, and that's a horrible drive right there. When you pull in when you're going hunting, campers and trailers, and you go over the top of. I don't remember the highway. I can't remember what it was. That one it went over the top.
It's a single digit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's crazy.
All those switchbacks and shell falls.
Oh,
and
it's
all
unreal.
that area.
Yeah, and you get up there, you got open range.
Yep, seriously open range.
Yeah.
And so the first year,
your story.
First year I was out there, to kind of go back to that, the Hells Angels from California used to come over, and they would camp out really close to the ranch that I worked at. And then at night they would cross the Bighorns with no lights on. They would race across the Bighorns, and every year there were accidents and people get hurt.
There.
But the
raced
ladies
over them mountains. The week I had a heck of a time with
absolutely.
a 3/4 ton Ford.
Yeah,
with 0.73 Power Stroke and a big camper going hunting.
Absolutely,
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. But while I was out there, I got to see good policy had a really good impact on people, and bad policy, especially some of the water policy that was out there, and then some of
water
the
rights.
And Bureau of Land Management. Man, that was a tough group to deal with, and so going out there was good for me. I learned a lot, and then when I came back. I went back and forth to Wyoming off and on for 3 years, but then finally decided I got to come back and get an education. I can't remember exactly when it would have been, but I got a paycheck 1 month that was not enough really to live on. I'd bought a few rifles and, taken some money out and bought some horses and other stuff, and I just thought, I'm never going to make anything of my life if I keep making this kind of money. And so decided to go back to Knoxville, and that's when I got my degree, and that's when I met my wife, so it was a great time.
It was.
Yeah.
So then you migrated to Weakley County.
So Weakley
You're
County.
You're a hog farmer.
So we still have hogs, but we raised hogs for Tosh for a long time.
I knew that.
I cannot say enough good about Jimmy Tosh. He's a wonderful man.
Great friend of mine.
Good guy.
Yes, he is.
I encourage everybody to be thinking about Jimmy, praying for him.
That's right.
You're right.
He's dealing with some health issues
He's struggling right now.
But so that young lady that I met when I went into college, actually the day I came home from Wyoming was a Saturday. The next day I went to church on Sunday at Sevier Heights Baptist on Alcoa Highway, and I had a friend who had married a girl, and he said, I got this sister-in-law. You need to meet her. She's going to be at church on Sunday. You'll love her. She got great personality. And I thought, oh, well, we know how this goes. And then actually went to church, met Ellie, and I found out she did have great personality, and she was also beautiful. And her dad had a lot of land over here in Weakley County. So so we met and, shook hands, met the family. The next morning, we had an 8 a.m. English class. I walked in and she was there, and I was just like, I think the Lord is trying to give me
that's divine right there.
Divine intervention. There is good things that can come out of an 8 a.m. English class, in case
I never
didn't
say
know
that.
that. So,
You're the only one that can say that.
Yeah, I get it. It's time to run.
but it was her I followed back here. So we dated for 4 years through college, and then we came back one weekend. I went to interview with Farm Credit Services over at Dresden, and she came to interview Jimmy Tosh actually at the Higgs restaurant.
Right.
We met Jimmy at the Higgs restaurant, and he hired her on the spot, and I heard a couple of weeks after I did my interview they wanted to hire me, and so all we had to do was graduate and move to West Tennessee. We both had jobs, and it was great. And I've never looked back. I've loved living in Northwest Tennessee.
You was a state rep for a while.
Correct. Yeah. So 2010, a lot of things, a lot of political turmoil going on.
Still is.
Yeah, some would say. But that kind of prompted me to look around, and I was desperate for folks to say, we need to, at that time, really, we need to show our state sovereignty and resist a lot of things from Washington, D.C., and sort of looking around and having conversations. And specifically, for me really being interested in agriculture, I thought, man, somebody needs to be advocating on behalf of agriculture. And I was part of a group at that time called the Farm Bureau. They sponsor a group called the Young Farmers and Ranchers. And so I'd go to these young farmer and rancher meetings, and we'd have policy discussions and all this other stuff. And it just occurred to me at some point that, hey, you're after somebody to represent you and to speak on behalf of you. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you that needs to do this job. And, I remember talking to my wife. I was on the county commission at that point, and I remember talking to my wife and saying, hey, I feel like we might need to be thinking about this, praying about this. I'm feeling called to it. And she said, well, I'm not. And I said, I think this is one of the chances where we need to actually legit fast and pray. And so we did. And at the end of a pretty, lengthy period of time, I was fully expecting she was going to say, yeah, I'm still not called to it. But she was more convinced even than I was that this was what we needed to do. And sure enough, filled out all the paperwork and started the process. I was 28 years old and didn't have, hardly two nickels to rub together. And I look back on that and I think, that's just.
Didn't know the difference.
Didn't know the difference.
I did a lot of things not knowing it. Looking back, you think, how did you realize you didn't know the difference?
Yeah. And honestly, I would encourage more people to take on some things like that. Not to say disregard reality, but challenge yourself.
Character.
Absolutely.
Builds character, and it makes you understand things in life. I did a lot of business deals and stuff, and looking back, I didn't have no ace, but I went in there thinking I did, kind of what you did. I thought I had one. I don't know how I did it.
Yeah, well, nobody was more surprised the night I got elected than I was.
Right. You did that for what, 2 terms?
10 years, so 5 terms.
Right. That's 2-year term. That's right.
Yeah, I just kept plugging away, and then in 2020, I'd already made my mind up. I really said I was not going to serve longer than 8 years, but after 10 years, I determined that it really was time, and it was a good run. I enjoyed my time there, built a lot of great relationships. A lot of those relationships I still have today, but it certainly was time for me. And so I transitioned away and came to work at the Department of Agriculture in 2021. And it's been a great role. And so.
You've been a commissioner for how long?
So I've been commissioner since October of 25, but when I was hired, I came in as the director of business development. And business development is just really one of my passions, especially relative to agriculture. And of course, you look around here and where we live, agriculture is the backbone of our economy. And really, we're not unique in that regard. You go to any small county, rural county across the state, and agriculture and forest products production is the basis of almost every rural county in the state of Tennessee. And so for me, that was a great place to start because it was something I loved, and it was something that I, knew a lot of folks that were in there, and me and my wife ourselves having a farm and really kind of doing some different things on our farm. We have an agritourism operation, and so that gave me an interesting perspective to start with, but came in as the director, served several months there, a couple of years. Then the assistant commissioner position opened up, so I was the assistant commissioner for business development for a while, and in that role, we covered market news. So we have a team of folks, the department has a team of folks all across the state that are going in and helping to do grading and also, addressing what the pricing issues are for sales all across the state. And every morning I give a market news report. So, we report on what the price of cattle is doing and other types of livestock. We also had Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program, which folks who are familiar with agriculture and the state, they'll know what Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program is. It's It's a cost share program that we do a 50%
Pivot
cost
wells,
share.
pivot wells.
It's all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
pivot wells and water management. If you got, because I've been trying to get involved and get some work done on my place. I got some washing going on, and it's just always out of money when Mike gets there.
Well, now this is you may be talking about some of the NRCS programs. So these are state dollars, and this covers everything from livestock handling equipment.
Oh, it's different than just
Yep.
land management.
Yep,
What I'm talking
correct.
about, where you got erosion issues. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you made it commissioner.
Yeah, so went from assistant commissioner and then became deputy commissioner. So we had our former deputy commissioner, Jeff Aiken, who was a president of the Tennessee Farm Bureau, great guy. He had a brother that was killed in a really just kind of a freak accident, and Jeff, was recognizing that if the farm was going to make it, he was going to have to get home and help. And so when he left, that opened up that deputy commissioner role, and Commissioner Hatcher at that time and Governor Lee put me in that position as deputy commissioner. And I served there for a while and really thought that I would be in that deputy commissioner role until, the end of the governor's term. I thought Commissioner Hatcher would stay, but then he called me one afternoon and he said, "Hey," he said, "I got some news for you." And I said, "Well, what is it?" And he said, "Well, I'm leaving and I'm running for Congress." And so,
Wow.
So that position opened
Right
up
in your lap.
Right.
Is that an appointed job?
It is. It's an appointed position.
Is it stay as long as the governor, or is it can go on with other governors?
So, each governor is going to appoint their own commissioner to all the different departments, and there's like 23 appointed positions across the state. So you've got 22 departments, and then you have TEMA.
Right.
And so you've got all these commissioners, and then you've got Director Sheehan, who's over TEMA at the moment. And
It's
so
got to be kind of nerve-wracking knowing we got a new governor. Well, am I going to have a job?
oh, well, that's certainly part of
Nature
it.
of the beast, ain't it?
Yeah, that's live by the sword, die by the sword.
What does, getting to the good part, what does a commissioner of agriculture for the state of Tennessee, what do you do? Do you just go to meetings so you can have a next meeting, or do y'all set up your next meeting? I mean, what do you do?
Now, there's a lot of meetings, but the commissioner's role really, I think, reverts back to our mission statement as a department. So the department's mission statement is to serve, support, and promote Tennessee agriculture and forestry. And so when I think about what are all the different ways to serve, what are all the different ways to support, what are all the different ways to promote. So for me, hardly any 2 days are ever the same. If I was to take yesterday as an example, now this would be an extreme, but we started off yesterday morning because we drove in Sunday night, but drove into Knoxville. And while I'm in Knoxville, I stay with my parents, but left Knoxville, early, and ended up in Claiborne County. And we went to a meat processing facility right there, and we went to meet this gentleman. We had done some cost share work with him and created an opportunity for him to be able to open up a meat processor. So we went to see it and to hear from him. What are ways that we could have improved the program? What are his thoughts on, cattle production, all this other stuff that he's got going on? And I think the best way to hear from folks and to realize what issues producers are dealing with is to hear it directly from them. And so instead of expecting them to come to me, we go to them. And so we call that our Tennessee Roots Tour. And so we're on this Roots Tour right now. So we left from Claiborne County and went over to Hancock County. I don't know if you've ever been to Sneedville or not, but it is an interesting place over in the mountains of East Tennessee. And so while we were in Sneedville, we went up and we visited an operation there. And, when you look at the difference between what agriculture looks like in upper East Tennessee, what it looks like in Middle Tennessee, what it looks like in West Tennessee, it's very different. And so while we were in Hancock County, we went up and we visited a couple of different operations.
Cattle farming up in that area a little more than we have here.
Huge. And as a result, the operation that we went to see was a feed mill literally on the top of a mountain in Hancock County.
Really?
And
Rocky Top.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can't grow corn.
Yeah, so Bill Serber was the guy's name that we went and visited, and I had seen him 5 years earlier, and he had a feed mill there that was struggling to keep up with the demand for all of the cattle that were in that area. And he said, if there was just a way for me to get some help to be able to increase the size of my feed milling operation, I could help a lot of producers in this area. And little did we know 5 years ago that the cattle markets were going to just absolutely blow up the way they have right now.
Yeah, what happened to the cattle? I live in, I'm a part-timer. What happened to the cattle industry? Why is
Beef
what
high.
happened? Well, why did the cattle go? You couldn't give a cow away for 10 years ago. It was droughts, there was hay prices, feed prices, and it's kind of like a farmer, everything's against him. You buy at retail and you sell at wholesale, and everything is stacked against the farmer, but yet that's what, you just said it, it's what generates these rural communities, and it seems like the farmers are butts against the wall in their own far.
Well, there's a lot.
Not only cattle, but I blame a lot of it on your chemical, your seed companies, and all them. They know how much it's going to cost to put a crop in. They project what they're going to make a year. They just leave a little bit on the end for that farmer just to make him want a little bit more. We're in trouble.
Well,
the agriculture, not in just this country, sir, but all across the state. I mean, that's the state. The country's in trouble, dude.
Well, there's still some positive stuff out there. I don't want anybody to hear me talking about agriculture negatively, because I think the sun's rising.
It is,
but there are difficulties we got to work through.
We got to acknowledge them.
Yeah.
If we don't acknowledge there's difficulties, you're bound to repeat them.
No, that's true.
What happened to cause us get into the shape where these farmers are going bankrupt? They can barely make it, and it's in a bad deal. What can we do as Tennessee to help my neighbors out there? I've got farmers. Jimmy Taj, hog farmer, he's pretty good shape. People eating bacon. I love bacon.
Yeah, buddy.
He's in good shape. But you got row crop farmers that's just struggling, dude. And you got cattle farmers they're doing all right, but there ain't no cows.
Yeah. So to answer your primary question, what happened?
Yeah.
Well, it's a culmination of a lot of different things. We've had some natural disasters out west that has certainly reduced the population of cow herds that are out there. Now, whether that was wildfire, some extreme snowfall events, drought is the main cause. And so when we start eliminating a lot of these cow-calf producers that are in the out west, then that
feed
reduces.
Your feedlots are gone.
Well, feedlots they're still doing all right.
Yeah.
What we've seen is that when COVID happened, and really even prior to COVID, is we saw
that'll
shifts.
cost you $1. We don't say that word anymore.
Okay, well, my assistant.
Keep up with that back here, Kevin. How many times he says that C word?
My assistant came
sir.
up with a new. She calls it the vid.
Yeah.
So she cuts off
I call it
the co-part.
The kung flu.
Kung flu.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that certainly.
Or like President Trump said, why do you call it the Chinese virus? Because they come from China.
Well.
I can say that.
No, certainly. Well, there's been a lot that has changed.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. There's a lot of folks that have changed their eating habits as a result of several different things, from being at home, learning to cook again.
We've been beat down, not eat beef, don't eat pork. That's all you've heard. And now that pyramid's getting shook up.
Yeah, well, it's getting turned on its head.
That's right. You found out that, like I've been saying, beef protein is the best protein. You cannot take and feed a man beans. So you're getting your protein. Eat some meat.
Yeah, no,
we're insanity.
Big advocate for eating meat.
Oh, Jesus, come on, man.
Well, another issue that really drove up some of the beef prices is African swine fever. And so you may say, well, what does that have to do with the price of beef? Well, in China, their diet is really based off of pork.
It is.
And when they contracted African swine fever, and they had literally hundreds of millions of hogs that died, we backfilled that vacancy of protein with U.S. pork, U.S. poultry, and U.S. beef. Right. And there'd never really been an appetite for beef in China prior to that. And as a result, Chinese now have, they've reestablished those herds of swine, but they never lost that taste for premium beef. Oh. And so that has certainly shifted.
Shipping our premium beef to China.
We're shifting some probably lower grade cuts, things that you and I would say, I don't know if I want to steak like that.
You can't find prime. What I called prime growing up is not prime today. I don't find it. I mean, I go try to buy prime because it's better. But you can't beat an old Jersey bull calf.
Well,
meat.
That's
I mean, I know the deal about
we're eating on one right now at the house.
So not the best meat. I know you can't say it. I can. Right there. I know the Angus. You put 100 pounds of corn in him, you gain more weight than you can an old poor Jersey. But you live on a milk farm, you got a lot of bull calves. You band them. 2-3 years, you get the calf, you carry them slaughter, and it's the tenderest meat and the best lean meat I've ever eaten.
It is. It's pretty good when you finish it up right. But I will say the Italian restaurant up here in the Olive Pit, up here in, and I'm not trying to endorse anybody. I'm just saying they have a piece of Hereford beef in there.
Yeah,
that a 16-ounce ribeye that is to die for.
Really tender.
It's great.
Well, that's all, I'd have to eat it because I like the steaks that I buy now. The more you chew it, the bigger it gets in your mouth.
I would encourage you to go up there.
Feed the rest of it to the dog. I mean, seriously. And the fat don't even look the same anymore. I wonder if we're not. I didn't know what was going on in the beef industry because I'm a beef eater, raised cow.
Yeah. Well, what you need to do, you need to let me pick you out some steaks because I think beef is still really it's a premium protein source. Beef.
It's the best.
We love it. But
I like my bacon too now.
There is still prime beef out there.
Where is it?
You do have to pay for it.
I don't mean it like I've got plenty of money because I'm a poor man.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to a store, Walmart don't have it. You got to go to a meat market and ask for prime, and prime is not what prime was 10 years ago.
Well, I'll have to disagree with you on that.
You can do that.
Those USDA grades are not changing. And listen,
but the cows are not there.
Well, we do have the lowest inventory of cows since like 1943 or 1947.
Yeah.
We have a pretty low number. But as I was saying, and I hate to keep referring back to meeting the Rotary this morning, but if we wanted to have a chicken and we wanted to have chicken on our plate, we can have an egg laid. And in 5 weeks, we can have chicken.
That's right.
All right. If we want to have a pork chop, we can have that piglet born, and in 5 or 6 months, we can have a pork chop on our plate. If you want to have a steak, well, guess
18
what?
18 months.
It's a slower process. 18 months. That's exactly right.
Let me ask you a question. Where does McDonald's get all their beef? They say they sell 1 billion hamburgers a year, and they're quarter pounds, right? How many pounds of meat in that? It seems like there wouldn't be enough places to keep all them cows to get the beef.
Well, there's a lot of
You understand what I'm saying? That's a lot of beef.
Well, there's a lot standing on the hoof and finishing lots all across the Midwest, and that is where the main sources.
I got a lot of friends that runs feedlots out west. Okay. Good friends of mine, and because we hunt out there a lot, and they tell me horror stories. Not just Tennessee. There's horror stories in the feed in the cattle industry, and it's. I say it is going to get better, but will price ever come down? If we got us accustomed to paying what we're paying, I don't think it will.
Well, as the inventory comes up, it'll probably come down some, but we're kind of in a position right now where beef is going to be at a premium for quite some time.
It will. And number one reason why there's scarcity, that's why spit is worth nothing and gold is worth a lot.
Absolutely.
Because of supply and demand. But it also, when you're cutting down on your beef suppliers, the ones that package them, the beef packers, they've got us used to $10, $20 a pound. They might drop it $8, $18, but they say they're buying it. It's just the natural way it is.
We're seeing some pretty high prices on calves right now. Again, I do a market news report every morning.
What are they bringing?
Well, it just depends on what size, but if we look at, I'll pull up the market report from a couple of days ago, but when we look at
that 400-pound calf,
so I'll tell you exactly what it'll bring right here. So
we might have 400 we want to sell right quick, Ricky.
We're not going to rush it.
So when we see these prices of cattle, sometimes it is kind of amazing to see exactly.
It's crazy, mom and baby calves, what they're bringing. I've seen some. It's ridiculous.
Let's see if we can pull this market report up here real quick. So when we look at the price of cattle and recognize that, again, you can't just go, unlike what a lot of people think, you can't just go to the grocery store and pick up beef. It's got to come off the hoof.
Got to come off the hoof.
And we have recognized
we ain't found a way to make it with a what do you call that 3D printer yet.
You're not going to make it in a laboratory in any way that's going to.
And we tried to take and put beans and greens and make beef out of it, and I thought, just get you a damn hamburger.
Yeah, that seems to be the
veggie burger.
Way to go
just get you a damn cheeseburger. That's what you want.
I want to pull this market news report up.
What do you can do that? We're talking. If you're in the government, you're a multitasker. You have to be.
Well, that is kind
of
true.
What are you doing as Tennessee to help these cattle farmers, and what are we doing to help these row crop farmers that's really struggling right now? We admit they're struggling.
Yeah, so there's and it's just when you say farmers in general. you could have a fruit and vegetable producer here in the state of
I'm
Tennessee.
talking about grain farmers and cattle farmers.
And grain farmers are the ones that have certainly taken it.
And hate to butt in again, but a lot of your pasture land that I'm accustomed to, they're growing corn and soybean in now. And it's hard to find pasture land anymore, really, because land has got high. It's astronomical in Henry County. I was looking today. There's some land joining me. They want 8,000 acres for when you can't pasture it.
Yeah, and
I'm sort of saying, what the world? I mean, you'd have to spend another 8,000 acres to even make a pasture in it. But there's no pasture land. And so that's another issue, that there's just no land to pasture. And everybody just saying, well, you can't make money in cattle, so let's just put it in a row crop. And then they're fighting that battle too.
So there's,
you see my point.
There's still a lot of land out there, but what we're seeing is that right now there's more competition for that land than there's ever been.
There is.
And we look at
I live in Cottage Grove, which is the breadbasket of Henry County. That's
it's a great spot.
Most your farmland is northwest like that. And you live in that area, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I see houses being built where I've hunted quail, which the quail left when they took the fence rows. But anyway, I'm a big hunter, and I got hunting farm, and I play with farming, and then I'm seeing they're building commercial buildings where there used to be 30-acre cornfield right there by my house. Now they're putting a commercial building in there, and I'm thinking, what are we doing here? I mean, and yeah, progress is good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm seeing land that used to have cattle on out there by me. There's still one guy's got some cattle, but it's not many no more. And now it's cropland.
Yeah, well,
Pinch are still there. They could probably go back to cattle.
We certainly did take out a lot of fence rows several years back, and I think there's some folks that are probably regretting that now.
Yeah,
they wish they could pasture that corn stubble and other pasture land that's out there right now. But we do have, and listen, I don't want to overgeneralize. We certainly have a lot of competition right now for ground that we didn't have before, because people, instead of just saying, do we pasture it, do we crop it, do we use it to do other functions.
There's other things, yeah.
Now, the biggest competition and kind of the biggest crop that we're growing, it feels like, in Tennessee is new houses.
That's right.
We're attracting a lot of folks here to the state of Tennessee. And again, who can blame them? We live in the greatest state, in the greatest nation.
We're closed. Didn't we close?
Yeah, we're closed, and we're a terrible state.
That's
For
right.
everybody who's out of state listening, that's what you need to know. So let me give the market news report here.
Give it to me right quick, bro. I got to
okay.
take a commercial break. Somebody got to pay the bill.
You need to do that before I do this?
Ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to give the full report, all right? So, hey, friends, this is your Commissioner of Agriculture here in the state of Tennessee, Andy Holt, bringing you the market news report for March the 25th. This report is brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Agriculture in cooperation with USDA Market News Service.
And the Mike Weatherford Show.
And the Mike Weatherford Show. So, feeder cattle, steer, 4 to 5 weight, 450 to 545. 5 to 6 weight steers, 410 to 490. 6 to 7 weight steers, 372 to 425. 7 to 8 weight steers, 335 to 362. 8 to 9 weight steers, 315 to 330. Now, here's the one that'll probably shock you. Heifers, 3 to 400 weight, 470 to 570.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then the numbers stay consistent. The bigger they get, the lower the price per pound. But we're still, for the highs, 570 for 3 to 4, 4 to 5 weights, 490, 5 to 6 weights, 440, 6 to 7, 395. And that's,
if you're a seller, you like them numbers, but the cost of feeding them has gone up.
Absolutely.
So there's really, if it's $1, corn was 50 cents. Now it's $2, corn's $1. That's what I'm saying, and I can bitch, can't I? I just think that these big industries are seeing where their money's at, and they're just charging, keeping you just barely ahead. I mean, come on. I got to take a commercial break. We'll finish it. All right, folks, I've been sitting there, they're in my ear. We've been sitting there talking with Commissioner Andy Holt from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, and we're finding out what he does. He's a smart guy, great guy. I think we got a lot to learn. You got any questions, you can put them on the one of the message boards, wherever you're watching me from, and I'll ask the man. But we'll take a commercial break, got to pay the bills, and we'll be right back.
There's something special about jewelry that's been cared for properly. When a ring needs resizing, a stone needs to be reset, or a favorite piece simply needs to shine again, it helps to have a trusted professional close to home. Potto Gold Jewelry Repair offers professional full-service jewelry repair right here in Paris. Ring resizing in both gold and silver, prong retipping, stone resetting, soldering, professional cleaning, and even watch battery replacement. Careful craftsmanship, excellent work, high satisfaction. Also buying and selling new and heirloom pieces. Visit Potto Gold Jewelry Repair at 415 North Market Street in Paris, or call 7316-449113. Potto Gold Jewelry Repair, where fine details still matter.
Is your tank on empty? For best gas prices in town, fill up at 54 Fuel Mart, 1213A Westwood Street. And don't forget your other tank. Grab hot fried chicken, wings, pizza, and on Tuesdays and Fridays, the best fried fish around. Got a sweet tooth? We've got freeze-dried candies, candy bars, and more. Rainy day? Stay dry and use our drive-up window. Farmers, we've got your dyed diesel plus parking for big rigs. Open 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. If you're feeling lucky, play the lottery or grab a scratch-off while you're here. 54 Fuel Mart at the Westwood Y. More than just fuel.
Hi, I'm David Bubba Flowers. I'm running for re-election to the County Commission in the Great District 1 of Henry County. I have proudly served you for the last 2 years in District 1, and I look forward to using my 42 years of financial and accounting experience to help lead our county for the next 4 years. I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Are you still undecided about your high-speed internet provider? Hey, it's Mike from the Mike Weatherford Show. Let me help you off the fence. TEC high-speed internet is what we use here at the studio, and let me tell you, it's flawless. From home to business, TEC got you covered. With upload speeds that match download speed, TEC leads the pack. Does your family play online games? How about security cameras and live streamers in your home? TEC, with their upload speed matching their download speed, it's as fast as clicking a button. When it comes to high-speed fiber optic internet, TEC is unmatched with quality and service all across the Mid-South. So do like I did. Go get you some.
Hey everyone, this is Jeremy Buckaloo reminding you to tune in to Sportscast with Jeremy Buckaloo live every Sunday night at 7:30 here from the Brewer Street Mafia Studios.
All right, folks, next week, I don't know what they're setting me up with, but I've got Tasha Gurley. She's coming in from Southland Safari.
You're going to love it.
And she's bringing animals. And I done told them, no snakes. If there's a snake, it would probably be a lot of beeping going on. We don't have a 10-second beeper here. Everything's live. So I tell you, tune in next week. You won't believe what's in West Tennessee. We're going to find out about the Southland Safari over here in Yuma, Clarksburg, Tennessee area. Live animals in the studio. They never tell me nothing. They just say, this is what's going to happen. And I said, no snakes. But my producer likes to play games. And Fat Boy don't do snakes. So if that happens, you need to watch it because it's going to be something. That's coming up next week right here live on the Mike Weatherford Show. Hey, don't forget, coming up on the Tennessee Informer, government induces Hunger Games, Agenda 30, and the War on Farmers. Special guest Rebecca Terrell is going to be joining Dave over on the Tennessee Informer, finding out about the Hunger Games the government is inducing. So that's going to be a great show coming up Monday, April 6th, 7 p.m. You want to watch that over on Tennessee Informer. Hey, don't forget 1 year anniversary of Live with Jeremy Buckalow. He's got Gordon Hyatt, Dylan Poole, Sunday, April the 12th. It's going to be a great show. You don't want to miss it. It's 1 year anniversary. If you haven't done it yet, reach over and find Live Sportscast with Jeremy Buckalow. Follow him. He's on all the platforms. Great guy. He's even had NASCAR in here. We've had NHRA in here. We've had it all. He has. I say we, but I was on one show with him. We had some NHRA. I'm gonna get in trouble. IHRA racers on here. So don't forget it. Coming up Sunday, April 12th, 7:30 p.m. It's his 1 year anniversary. Sportscast Live with Jeremy Buckalow. Tune in and find out what's going on. Per your day. High Noon Tug of War coming up May the 9th. Battle of the Badges. Paris Police Department's taking on the Henry County Sheriff's Department. And I'll probably have the Department of Agriculture taking on somebody here in Tennessee.
We'd whoop them both.
Get your tug of war. Last year, the Paris Police Department won. They
Henry
got
County
the trophy.
Sheriff, you got to come on.
That's what I'm telling you. But they're going to be back again. If you haven't done it yet, sign up. Get a hold of us here at the Weatherford Show. I'll teach you how to sign up. It's going to be fun. Coming up high noon, per your day, May the 9th. Paris Police Department taking on Henry County Sheriff's Department, plus a lot of other tug of war teams. Some churches are taking on. We had some churches out of Hazel come in down there. Look like the Hulk. I said, you can't beat them guys. They got Jesus on their side, and they act like they beat everybody. But the Paris Police Department is the reigning champ. Can the Henry County Sheriff's Department get the trophy and carry it back to the Sheriff's Department, or is he going to stay at the Paris Police Department? You don't want to miss it. Coming up, per your day, May the 9th, per your Tennessee. Hey, don't forget the Peddler Advantage. Run your 20-word classified to run for 4 weeks for only $10. Guess what? Every issue, you can find all the great shows at the Brewer Street Mafia Kill Studios, the Mike Weatherford Show, Tennessee Informer, and Sportscast with Jeremy Buckalow is all listed. They got 9 counties, 30,000 papers are going out. You can put 20-word classified to run for 4 weeks for $10. Believe it or not, people love the Peddler Advantage. So, hey, go find your free copy. If you haven't done it yet, get your classified. I know you got some stuff you want to sell before the summer gets here. Hey, don't forget, we're live on all the platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. We're live. The Mike Weatherford Show. Go find more about us on www.myparistv.com to find about all the great shows going on at Brewer Street Mafia Hill Studio. I am sitting here talking with the Commissioner of Agriculture for the great state of Tennessee, Mr. Andy Holt. We've been talking about farming, cattle, and his square-toed cowboy boots.
Yeah, you seem to really be hung up on that.
I don't
it
know.
feels like.
Hold on, put the camera up here.
I'll show mine if you show yours.
There is a cowboy boot.
That's a cowboy boot,
That
too.
ain't a cowboy boot.
Mine's dusty as well.
The
Because
dude
it's
been in Wyoming, been over the Bighorn Mountains, been on these cattle ranches, right? Cowboy.
yeah.
That has
What's left of one now. So
it is.
I will say I don't feel like I have yet answered exactly what I do.
I don't
or,
think you
or
know.
really answered a full question as of this
No.
at this point yet.
So what do you do?
So, we'll revert back to that answer I started with yesterday, kind of going around the
Did
world.
I cut you off? No, we got on something else.
No, that's not cut off. It's supplemented with additional questions, I
okay,
think
yeah.
is the way to say it. But
okay.
so,
I call it rabbit holes.
rabbit holes for sure. But yesterday, and I'll close it out by saying we went from Knox County to Claiborne County to Hancock County to Sequatchie County to Wilson County to Lawrence County, and then I got to go home to Weakley County last night. And yesterday was an unusual day, but it was 643 miles is what we put in,
day.
covering a lot of ground.
Well, you didn't stay long nowhere.
Didn't stay long anywhere. We had everything set up, but what we got to see
Was you driving or flying?
No, we were driving.
Oh, yeah. You was huckling.
So we were huckling and also getting on the phone in between and checking on things. But when you look at what the Department of Agriculture does, it's not only just service to producers, it's service to every person in the state of Tennessee. So we make sure that we're doing food inspections. So, we and then also the Department of Health do food
I
inspections.
thought that was USDA.
So USDA is the federal level, and so there are certain inspections that only USDA can do. But we actually contract and do most of those inspections for USDA.
Would that be like restaurant scores? Would that fall under y'all?
So restaurants would actually fall under the Department of Health, but we're really focused on food manufacturing. So things like meat processors, and also like where you're going, and we've got some of the largest food processors in the world here in Tennessee. So we process a lot of dairy products in Tennessee. We manufacture a lot of food products in Tennessee. So whether it's Pringles or whether it's yogurt or ice cream, Charms, all the blow pops in the world are made down in Covington, Tennessee.
Wow.
And so as a result,
moon pies.
That's exactly right. And this other
Google
little
clusters, they
Pick
still
sweet.
make-
Pick sweet.
Ain't Google
Right.
clusters still made
Yep,
here?
absolutely. And
You can tell Fat Boy knows about that candy.
well,
don't
and maybe something else you might know about. You probably never heard of him, but there's a guy named Jack Daniels.
I've heard of him.
Have you heard of him?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I know who he is.
So
he kicked his safe and messed his foot up, and that's what killed him.
That's exactly right. You've taken the tour of the
I know
place
a lot
down
of
there.
nothing.
Yeah,
I know a
well,
whole lot of nothing.
that is kind of the
You know
way.
that?
I know that.
He couldn't
Yeah.
get his safe open and kind of got pissed off like you and
Yeah.
I do sometimes. He kicked it and he got game.
And they still have that safe if you
That's
go
right.
on the tour. Yeah, and you can see that spring with it, all the water that goes into the process comes out of.
I have been there, been 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That is a great tour.
It's a pretty good tour.
Tennessee's the best place on earth. In Henry
I agree.
County, Henry County is the best place in Tennessee.
Yeah, well, that's some would say. What I've come to realize is that there's a lot of folks that are defensive of that title of God's country,
Yes.
and man,
But I'll fight for it.
Well, places like tour trips like I had yesterday, where you go from one spot
Yeah.
to another.
You see a lot.
You see a lot, and you see people who love what they do.
That's right,
They
man.
love the ground that they're farming and the place that they live in. They're proud of it, and I think that's what makes the United States a special place. Is we just got a country and a state.
Tennessee, it is. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. It's a free country. Ricky and I could live anywhere I wanted to, and I've been around the world. I have, and I always come back home to Tennessee.
too.
Yeah.
And all I want my government to do is quit trying to save my life. Get out of my way and just give me roads to drive on, clean water, and clean food, and I'll take care of myself. I think that's all anybody should ask from the
No,
government.
there's a whole lot of value there.
Yeah.
Ricky, you want something to say?
Andy made a point today for people in the state, 230 years, the two seals. Can you explain the seals to people in the state of Tennessee?
So our state seal, apart from saying, the great state of Tennessee, 1796, has two words on it inscribed in the middle, has agriculture and then commerce written under there. And, the founders of our state 230 years ago knew that because of the waterways that existed at that time, that we were going to have the opportunity to couple that really good fertile soil that we have to produce agriculture and other types of livestock, commodity goods, and ship those, throughout the nation. And now, we not only have those waterways that we still use every day in agriculture and for lots of other types of transportation and logistics, but you couple that with, just like what you were talking about, good roads. So whether those are county roads or state roads or interstates, then we also have an abundance of rail all across the state. We got main lines and we've got short rails. And then we also have amazing networks of commercial air traffic as well. And, we have the opportunity from the state of Tennessee to within 24 hours get to 75% of the U.S. population. Wow. That's what makes us such a great place to really, that's why we're seeing so many people attracted here.
We're closed. That's back in the day.
That's
closed.
right. We're closed now. That's right. And we have a terrible state. Nobody needs to come here.
That's right. That's right.
But you were talking about traveling the world, and that's another thing that
what
I
want
do.
to get at. Tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
You deal with that.
So
what's
we
that
don't.
doing? What is that? I don't mean you deal with. What's that doing to the agriculture in Tennessee? Is it helping or hurting? What's the long run plan? As the commissioner, can you say? Is that a fair question?
Oh no, it's a fair question. But I think for us to say, hey, the issues that we're facing in agriculture or in other types of
we're getting hit with tariffs in agriculture.
We're certainly getting hit. Yeah. But there's a lot of other factors as well. But tariffs, and always think about tariffs in three ways, not just as it's a cost that has to be borne, by consumers, but it is an economic tool.
It is.
It's a tool for a country to use to say.
That's what we had before we had income tax.
Absolutely.
That's how we funded this country, was off of tariffs. And
You're
we
right.
got away from that. Tariffs is good if it's used right, and it can level the playing field, worldwide. If it costs $1 to produce it in China and it costs $10 here, where it's going to cost you $9 to get it here, it kind of levels the playing field. But it also can drive the cost up because we, in the last 30, 40 years, we've got used to cheap imports.
That's true.
When that word cheap, we lost quality. We traded quality. This is my opinion, okay? We traded quality for economics. You can't buy a good chopping axe no more. You can't buy a good – I mean, seriously, go try to buy a good chopping axe. You can't put an edge on a damn thing. That's what I do. I'm a metal man. You can't hardly put an edge unless you got an old true temper. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I'm older.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
But we traded dollars for cheapness.
And I think that's something we need to come back.
We need to come back. Why don't we make a car? There's a song, make a car last 10 years like it ought to. Me being as an auto mechanic, I've been in this business for 40 years. My techs, nothing they hate worse than putting a part on your car and you come back 3 weeks, the part's bad. Well, we'll give you another part. And the box doesn't say made in Tennessee. It says China somewhere. When we have people that's capable of making them parts, I'm getting away from agriculture, but it's the same thing.
No, it is the same.
We need to come back and tariff it and make it a level playing field. And we can do it and keep the prices relatively cheap. We can. It's got to work. It'll find its own level, as my father used to say. But we've traded quality for dollars. Look at everything you buy.
Well,
it's throwaways.
And you said that today about clothing.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So we certainly, and there's nobody's going to get in the mind of President Trump. But if you want to get as close as you possibly can on this particular topic,
tariffs,
I would encourage folks to read a book by it's Lighthizer is his last name. I can't remember if it's Alan Lighthizer. It's one of it, but it's called
Alan.
No Trade is Free. And that was something that, as a student of agriculture economics, a person who's always told free trade, free trade, free trade. I think what I'm coming to realize is that free trade for our nation, it unfortunately is a cost. There's a huge cost to it. There's no rag factories here anymore.
Right.
We don't loom any cotton.
Lint heads are gone in North Carolina. Cannon, you remember Cannon was a big lint. They made your towels was Cannon, good quality. Are you a NASCAR fan? Dale Earnhardt. That's where his family worked at. Was in, they call them lint heads. They worked at Cannon. Was a big towel manufacturer, clothing factory up there,
Just like here
in North Carolina. It's gone. Now everything's made in China. It's so thin, and nothing lasts. If you got an old Cannon made towel, you probably still using it.
Well, that's something that I think, and talking about even, just look at how much plastic is around us
in
right
your body.
now. Now, thankfully, you got plenty of good hardwood in here.
Yeah,
on the
but
walls.
it's in your body.
It's in your body.
It's in your
and
well water, along with all these drugs, these pharmaceutical drugs in my well at my house. I don't want to check it. I don't know.
Well, what I do want people to do is to reincorporate natural materials, natural fibers into our life.
I agree.
And
hardwood.
I agree. I got it.
So whether it's wood,
My house.
whether it's cotton, whether it's linen, whether it's other things, and again, I think people are more interested right now in what they are exposing themselves to than they probably have been in the last 50 years.
Well, we didn't know. Alzheimer's claims, comes from aluminum. I don't know. But something happened. We're living longer. Sure we are. But the quality of life, I think, is not what it did at one time. Just my opinion. I think, people's living to be longer. We have doing better in this country. Tariffs, you think that's got to happen? I believe it is.
Well, let me give you a little bit more of an answer. So tariffs, I think, are sometimes a necessary evil. And so when you think about a tariff, think about it in three different ways. It's an economic tool. Mm-hmm. Okay. It is a way to exert authority over another nation. It's also a revenue generation opportunity. So like if you look back at the hundreds of billions of dollars that we are accruing right now as a nation, we're making money as a nation
We're supposed to get a refund, but a lot of people doesn't realize it, and you're a lot smarter than I am. You can tell that already. You can tell that already. I'm not real smart, but I surround myself with smart people. Tariffs is what funded America back in the day.
Prior to an income tax.
It sure did.
Yeah.
We got the income tax basically for the Civil War, and that's when it all started, kind of to fund the war is kind of where it all started. And then it says it goes back prior, but basically after Civil War, when we really started piling on what we call income tax. When tariffs are applied, it makes a man in Paris, Tennessee, can make something and compete on the world market with somebody in China that's making 50 cents an hour.
Well, and that's the last one of those 3 points is that you are giving yourself the hometown advantage. If you're putting a 15% tariff on another nation, you're telling guys at home, hey, you get a 15-point advantage in whatever this market is.
But we got to learn as Americans, this is just me talking, and there's probably statistics that prove I'm wrong. There's probably people says I'm wrong. I think that we got to go back to forget tariffs for the moment. Let's look at quality.
Agree.
We're missing the boat when we got the smartest people in the world live in America, and how that group, the smartest ones, live in Tennessee. We're missing the boat when it comes to quality. We don't have that no more. Look at what you do in farming. Look at the tractors and stuff. The quality's not there no more. Nothing is the quality. These diesel trucks, they have regens. They burn their own crap. They take their exhaust fumes and run it right through the engine. Nothing can live eating its own crap.
Have you seen what Lee Zeldin announced, though?
Yeah, I know. That's good, but it's still too late. The cow's out. They're going to finally shut the gate, but still, nothing can live eating its own crap. Nothing can survive eating its own waste. That's what they was doing. Let's make quality. There's a song about it. Let's make a Ford and a Chevy last 10 years like it should.
Yeah, that song's been around a while.
That's right, and it's been around.
And it's true. Let's make quality and get the competition back into it. Yeah, prices are up. This is my opinion. Capitalism is, excuse me, I love capitalism. Leave everything alone. Capitalism takes care of itself. Competition drives capitalism. Let all the factories come back to the States, and then you'll see your prices dip down when competition gets on board. But you can't compete making these boots I got on in China and you making them here, and the boots you got on made in America. You're going to pay more.
Well,
are you willing to pay more, or you want quality?
No, I certainly am, and that's something that I would encourage folks to consider. But that margin can't be so much that the average American family they don't have a bunch of money sitting around.
That's more competition. When you get the plants back here, competition settles that. There's a lot of other things.
But
cost at the stores. What can you do as a commissioner to help me when I go to the grocery store? Loaf of bread, my eggs. Eggs at one time was crazy. Mm-hmm. What can you use? I got to let you go. We've been here an hour. I don't want to keep it too late.
How long do we have?
Well, I got all night if you want to sit there.
Well, one thing relative to quality that I did want to get across is that the things that we do manufacture in the United States, and we still manufacture a lot. We don't manufacture as much as we did.
Now, we're more of a service country now.
Certainly, and the things that we manufacture are typically high end, so they're the best of the best. But I will say, in all of my world travels, and I've been to a lot of different places over the last couple of years. Doesn't matter if it's India, Vietnam, Morocco, Guatemala, Mexico, wherever we go. People still view the United States as the leader of the free world.
It is.
And they still look at the products that we manufacture as the premium.
That's right.
So when we were talking about beef earlier, and
I said,
you were saying there's no such thing as prime.
I can't find
it. There is.
Where
and he did.
Like
he sounded just.
It's kind of
a little whiny. I'm going to take you shopping. We're going to go get you a cowboy hat, and we're going to get you a prime steak. But
I got to wear square-toe boots?
You don't have to.
Good. I wouldn't go.
We'll let you keep your 1980s, 1990s boots.
Well, that's 2026.
Okay, well, there you go. There you go. But when we look at what's made the United States the premium supplier of whether it's beef, whether it is grain, whether it's hardwood, is that we've standardized and we have incorporated standards into what we're producing. And so the world recognizes those standards.
We all want America.
And we certainly do.
I hate to butt in, but when I pick up a part and it says made in Japan, I get excited because I know the quality's a little better.
Yeah.
Go ahead now. But that's true. I'd rather pick it up and say made in America.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question about what can we do at the grocery store, so the best thing that we can do as the Department of Agriculture, in my opinion, is just make sure that commerce is happening in a fair way. And when I say fair, government can't really make things fair for you, but we can ensure that when you buy a gallon of milk, it's a gallon of milk, and that it's safe and it's healthy. And, we need to do the same thing as it relates to, whether it's a pound of something or whether it's a gallon of something. We actually have the metrology lab under our jurisdiction at the Department of Agriculture. So we actually have a pound that we measure all other pounds against in the state of Tennessee. We have the same measurement for a gallon. And so we're there to make sure that the market is operating with those standards that all of us have come to appreciate.
Is there a problem with that?
So there can be. I mean, you go from we also ensure that when you go to the gas station,
I see that
you're
all the
getting
time,
a gallon of gas as
But
well.
I didn't know there's an issue with people selling you a gallon of milk only giving you almost a gallon.
Well, it's not an issue because we're there.
Okay.
And because we're
I didn't know if
making
that
sure.
was there. What I'm saying, I didn't know if you have to monitor that because.
Oh, yeah, on an ongoing basis. Yeah.
Wow. So people will try to cheat you out of a little bit of milk.
Well, whether it's I'm just using milk
I
as an
understand.
example.
It could be
but
anything.
Whether it's weights or measures.
Right.
So we
I'm with
cover
you.
metrology, but we also do inspections. We make sure that when somebody's selling food items that they're being handled in a correct way. Because something that we never need to take for granted. And I got to see this when I was a younger person.
I got the 5-second rule at my house.
Got the 5-second rule.
If it falls on the ground, you get up for 5 seconds.
Yeah,
you
you'll
eat
be
it.
all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
But we can't really allow that to happen in food manufacturing,
Well,
of course. So.
you let so many fly eggs in a ham sandwich. I mean, how many you got?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but
there's so many can be in there before they say it's too many. I guess I don't want none in mine. Okay.
yeah, well, what we do is make sure
That was a joke.
that food is safe,
And you're doing a good job.
and we try to make sure that it's affordable because we try to keep things in a position
I
where
have no
farmers
problem
can
with
continue to
American
produce.
and Tennessee grown food that we eat, but when it starts coming overseas, they don't have Andy Holt watching them. They don't have USDA watching them. We kind of, I know there's probably some kind of in place to prevent it, but I don't know what they're doing over. Some of that stuff that comes in this country, I fear it.
Well, there are standards before they're allowed to come into the United States.
Yeah.
So USDA is going to enforce that food that's coming in and is entering into the merchandise.
But all of our illnesses that we get on our fruits and stuff, it comes right out of Mexico where they just don't wash their hands after going to the bathroom. Elaine Jackson says she would love for me and Ricky to take you to the home place at LBL to give them some ideas. You been over there lately?
Oh, I have, and my kids and my wife go up to LBL quite often, and they try to go to the home place. They play in the creek right in front of the home place pretty frequently right there. But
you need to come over sometime. We need to go over
certainly be happy to.
And there's a friend of mine. It's not in Tennessee, but it's a distillery up there. It's in Kentucky, Katie's, Kentucky, Golden Pond Distillery. And you go check it out too. I know it's outside of Tennessee, but it's okay. It's close enough. They're our neighbors.
Good deal.
It's a great place.
He made a point today, and you have timber on your farm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the timber, how many, 53%?
53% of our state in Tennessee is covered actually in forested material.
Right.
And about 80% of our forest here in the state are hardwood, about 20% coniferous or softwoods.
Right.
And that's a pretty unique mix.
Yeah, we used to be a lot more of that what I call loblolly pine.
A lot of,
They grew
plantation
that.
pine.
You had a lot
Pulp
of these
pine.
Well, they made boxes with it.
Pulp.
You had God, I went mind blank down here in Mansfield. Thousands of acres of land that grew. West Vaco, and you had a couple of they go on there and they play thousands of acres. It was 10 years, and they was harvesting it, replanted. It was never run out of 10-year-old pine. It was just amazing how
That's
they
a
would
good
do
thing about, and I learned this from hearing him talk today. We reproduce wood. Some countries don't.
Yeah, we have a very sustainable resource in the United States. I remember as a kid driving from Knoxville back over to Nashville, there was a billboard, and it said, "Trees, America's most renewable resource." And that really is true.
It is.
Right.
But something that has certainly changed the need for the amount of pine, and the reason why you're not seeing as much is because
paper,
paperless world. You know, people don't use papers.
Except Bradford pear, get rid of
a
them.
lot of Bradford pears
Oh,
out
my
there
God.
right now.
I didn't know there was an issue. I had some in my yard when we first built our house. They just what the landscapers put in. I thought that's kind of pretty. Ice storm, they fell over. Now they're all out in the woods. I don't know how they got out there. I guess that hybrid wasn't as hybrid as they thought. Right?
They can go to traveling. Yeah,
They do.
they're certainly not.
They're not a native species, and they don't ever. They don't. I've never seen a pear on mine. Have you?
No, it's
just different. The tree.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of hit everything.
Well, we hit a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we did. Did you have fun?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate the opportunity to come on
Yeah,
here
we'll
with
do it
you.
again sometime. We'll
Yep.
figure out exactly, what you do. We really don't know yet, do we?
Well,
you learn. You do something every day. It's different.
Something's different every day, and at the end of the day, really, I think my job is
promote Tennessee agriculture.
Promote, serve, support Tennessee agriculture.
Yeah, like my daddy used to say, I don't get to toot the horn, I don't get to wave at the children and throw candy out, but let the train jump tracks. Who catches hell? Right?
Yeah.
Kind of like you got a hard job, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you
coming in. Everybody comes on my show, Andy. They want to know, because you're in the Brewer Street Mafia studios. You knew that. Am I part of the mafia? Well, it takes an hour, in this case, an hour and 10 minutes to decide. I vet you while we're talking to see if I think you will fit into the mafia.
Okay.
And other than them square-toe boots.
He's really hung up on that.
Boy, he's hung up.
I find something on everybody, okay?
That's good.
Not just you. I'm going to make you an official member of the Brewer Street Mafia. You can read it. It tells you right there.
Absolutely.
And on the front of it tells you the Mike Weatherford Show.
I'm a member now.
Official member of the Brewer Street Mafia. I'm going to tell you how valuable that is. If you take that in 2 nickels, you'll have a dime.
That is amazing.
It is amazing. If you keep that, there's a lot of people across the country that has them. And a lot of people want them. They say, I see ya.
Well, okay. Then, oh, hey, somebody said speeding ticket.
Yeah. It'll get you a speeding ticket.
I'm going to swap you out then, since you gave me one.
Right.
Let me give you one if I can dig it out of here, because I carry 6 challenge coins with me every day.
Yeah.
So I'll
$100 bill just as good.
I'll give you one in return.
I want one in return.
All right.
I got challenge coins from a lot of different ones right here.
So there you go.
Wow. I appreciate that. I'll add that to my collection. Here's a Tennessee coin right here. I can't remember. You got your glasses, or do you need glasses?
I don't have to have them at
Which
this
one
point.
is that one?
So that is pursuing. What does that say? Pursuing guilt, protecting innocence.
Yeah, that's from one of our big. What do you call that? Department of Justice.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I need to put that one up. I don't need to be sitting there.
Good
I need
deal.
to be putting the thing better. But man, I appreciate it. Did you have fun?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, but anytime Ricky Price is around, we're gonna have.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. Ricky, what do you think? Appreciate that.
It is very knowledgeable.
You're very knowledgeable. You're a likable guy.
Well, that's what our youth need to understand, and I use this today. You got to get back growing some things, and that's what's wrong.
We grow. We have gardens.
We have gardens and tomatoes, and if you haven't been to Holt Farms, I'm gonna put it out here for him right now. He's got his tulips growing, correct?
We do actually.
And
don't revoke my man card now, okay?
No, we're not. He got me tonight.
You brung it up.
But if you haven't been there, you need to go.
Yeah.
And in the fall, when the pumpkin patch and all this was going on.
How big a farm do you have?
Not big enough.
Okay,
so I don't want to own everything, just what touches me.
That's me.
So,
that's what
yeah.
me. I was talking that with my partner today about that. I was telling him that there was some land next to us that they got on the market that joins us for $14,000 an acre.
Is that all?
And he looked at me. He said, "We're not buying that." I said, "Well, I don't want to, but I'm just saying that our farm value, if that brings that, just went through the roof, and I don't think it's going to bring it, but it's on the market. But what you have competing as a farmer, you've got people that has capital, they have cash."
And they're coming from out of state a lot of times.
They are. And around here locally, you got a lot of cash buyers on farmland. They go out and buy the farmland, and they're not even farmers. And I'm not knocking it. If you got the cash, do what you want to, but then they start just renting it out, and that sets the market. To where if you've got millions of dollars and you want to invest it, you don't want to put it in the stock market. And I'm going to use CD. Nobody hardly uses CDs no more, but still, and you can buy farmland for $400 a year coming in. You buy 1,000 acres. That's a pretty good return on your money. Year after year after year. And that's what's helping, if you want to use the word helping, that's what's causing, in my area, the price of farmland. What we call tabletop, Memphis silk farmland in our area is going to the roof. And it's because a lot of people buying it is not farmers. Farmers really are just renting a lot of land around me now. They're just, you know that. Like, I'm not selling you nothing new. That's where a lot of your farms are being bought by non-farmers. It's just, they got the capital.
Well, and there's a lot of established farms that are able to buy land and pay a good bit of money for them.
Very few. They're getting smaller.
But my main concern really in the current situation that we're in is the fact that a young couple or a young man or a young woman, it's not that you can't do it, because me and my wife did it, but we had to use some unconventional methods. We had to We had to.
I don't think you could go in, not butt in, but I want to push back a little bit. I don't think you go out here and borrow the money, buy 1,000 acres, buy tractors, buy you a 500 horsepower tractor, the most highest priced piece of metal in your field is going to be a planter per pound of weight is a planter. Then maybe you can get somebody to combine for you. But I don't think you can borrow the money and ever farm it out of it.
So at this moment, you could not. Mm-hmm. But what you could do, and this is something that I'm a firm believer, so vertical integration is the opportunity for, somebody to go in and with us, it was hogs with Tosh. Yeah. They own those hogs.
Sure.
We put up the buildings. We manage those hogs.
Yeah, we're talking about
And that was the way.
I'm talking about row cropping, which is the backbone.
Row crop would be very difficult at this time.
Is China and foreign countries buying a lot of Tennessee land up?
Less and less. And the reason is because we have brought a lot of attention to the idea that and I'm not opposed to somebody from a foreign country owning. I'm opposed to somebody from an adversarial nation owning farmland in the state.
If they buy our farmland, I have no trouble because they can't take it back with them.
Well,
if it ever come to it, we could do it like you've done in the past. Just say
they did it in Arkansas,
That's
so
right.
they ran some folks that
can't pick up Henry County and carry it to China or Argentina, wherever country you want to use. So if they buy our farmland and we say, no, you're an enemy to the state, you're out.
But what I'd love for farming to be so profitable that land would never escape the hands of a natural native born who's going to farm it and create a legacy.
We're losing farmers for a lot of reasons. You just nailed it. A lot of your old heritage farms is harder and harder to find, where you got third and fourth generator farmers is getting to be less and less. And I don't know why. You see a lot of farmers that farmed around here that I know grew up here in Henry County, know all these farmers. Their children's not farming. A lot of them, their grandchildren are not farming. It's sad that they didn't take over that farm, and your bigger farmers come in buying them, making bigger farm. It's called capitalism. And it's
the interest, and I said this to Andy today when I went to work for the company. When I was home, I didn't want to sit in a turnip green patch, chicken, hog, cow. Yeah. I was gone from the house. 3 years later, time to come home.
Yeah, he loves it.
You ever had a truck patch with John Weatherford? You'd hate farming. Rough.
Well, I think
we pick corn by hand, sweet corn.
That's good for you. That's why you turned out so good. Did you ever pick any okra? That's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
I hate boiled okra. I hate okra, but I picked okra. Beans, corn, carry up on the courthouse back in the day. You remember everybody sat out there whittling. I know. Dad sat out that old truck. He talked to my old man Willa while I sold that corn
cut tobacco.
About a year.
Cut tobacco, yeah.
We're up around all that.
Well, one thing I want to end on is I know you've expressed concern about farming operations getting larger, but I will say
I wasn't concerned. I just said it is.
It is the consolidation that's taking place, but we still have 95% of all farms across the United States are still family owned. Now, they may look different. They may be bigger, but what we're seeing is whether it's a small operation like me and my wife or whether it's a large operation like Tosh,
I got you.
They are families at the end of the day, and what they're trying to do is change with the market conditions and adapt so that they can remain profitable.
Do you deal with your herbicide companies, your fertilizer companies? Is that anything that the commissioner has to deal with? Because I feel like that a farmer gets it wrong. I'm taking up for farmers. You can see that a lot tonight because I piddle with it. And this is me talking, okay? It's like they know what corn's going to bring. They know how much they can charge for herbicide. They know what fertilizer. They know your lime. They know your cattle to feed. And they get right up there to the break even and they back off just enough to entice you to try it again next year. I feel it. I see it. It's just –
well, margins have always been pretty tight in agriculture, but right now
it's tighter than it's ever been.
Things are pretty tight. So if we look back at 2025, this is an amazing statistic. It's an unfortunately amazing statistic. So in 2025, if you looked at corn, cotton, wheat, and soybean production in the state of Tennessee, so if you just took those four crops just in the state of Tennessee, there was a $492 million net loss on four crops in Tennessee alone. Now, when you go back in and the efforts to try to reduce that, so subsidies that were sent from the federal government, reduced that by about $300 million. But we still had a loss of almost $200 million on 4 crops in the state of Tennessee.
When you got corn, bring what it did in the 70s. You got a bushel of corn, bring what you got for it in the 70s, right at it.
And but it costs a whole lot more to put that acre of corn in.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm saying, it's bringing today what it brung in the 70s when diesel was 90 cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
But one thing,
tractor was 50,000.
Yeah, you wouldn't touch one now for that.
No,
but
now they're 900,000.
What I have come to realize, and again, I didn't grow up in agriculture, but I have engrossed my life in agriculture. I choose it every day. If there's going to be a way for folks to move forward, farmers,
they're going to make it.
Will do it. They're resourceful people.
And it's still relatively cheap. In America,
and that's my whole point to the youth of today. This is where I'm going. And if the youth today don't put some learning about agriculture, the stores on the shelf,
we're actually going to ask this next session. So it's going to we can't say for sure. Again, we got a new administration coming in. Who knows? I may get kicked to the curb come November, but I may stay.
Yeah.
But one bill proposal that we are going to put forward is we want to do a modernization of agriculture education, and it'll be focused on 4-H and FFA. But one of the other things is right now as a senior, you have to take a semester of economics and you have to take a semester of government. And so we think that we might want to try to ask for a semester of agriculture education, and not necessarily saying, hey, this is how you run a greenhouse.
Yeah.
But this is where your food comes from.
If you can teach them read a tape measure, that
would help a lot.
It goes back to my Southmore High School.
You got me?
I had to take 6 weeks of home ec.
Yeah.
And to your point, right? Would you tell me today, Andy?
It was great for me.
I took 6 weeks of home ec.
I took it for a week because I got in trouble fighting and got kicked out of a class. They put me in this home ec class, and I kind of liked them pretty girls in there. And I was one of the bad boys. They kind of, we got along.
But you learned to sew.
I don't think I did.
I did. I learned how to put buttons on.
I did.
I also learned how to operate an oven.
Don't say that, Dana. Hear me. I can't sew. I can't cook. Dana, I can't cook or sew.
Well, when I went to Wyoming, I realized
your wife watching.
She might be.
She know you can sew.
I had to send her to a gathering tonight because I couldn't be there because I prioritized you. But when I went to Wyoming, I realized that my mom, who thought she was doing me well, but I never knew how to cook anything. I didn't know how to wash clothes. I told Ricky I didn't even know how to make Kool-Aid. I thought you just put the pack in your gallon of water. Didn't realize you had to put sugar in there. Yeah. But I came back and took a full semester of home economics, and it was a great thing for me.
It's the best thing.
It could be. I agree with you. We need to teach these kids how to read a tape measure, and I don't do it no more. But, let's use the term, everybody's got a plastic card, but learn to balance a checkbook.
Amen.
Read a tape measure instead of. I have to tell some people, well, it's the first little mark past the S and Stanley wrote on the tape measure. I'm tired of telling them that.
Well, I will say, I know I'm biased, and I work for him, and I love him.
Yeah.
But Governor Lee has certainly turned the tide.
He's helped a lot. He needs to.
He has
on our trades. I agree.
Absolutely, the trades and this TCAT that they're building up here down the road.
Man, it's God sent.
Absolutely.
We're tech short. I've been preaching this for 15 years, and everybody says Mike just bitching because he's an auto tech. No, I'm shorthanded now.
Yeah.
They put these kids in college. They got them in debt. I've had college professors on here, and I make them look stupid because of this thing. They put them in debt. The college is not responsible for their product. I'm responsible for what I do. He's responsible for Pepsi, but they're not responsible for their product, which is a diploma. They give it to you. They get you somewhat your finance and send you out to the world, and you get mad. When we got technicians that can make $100,000 a year if they want to work, we got plumbers.
And it's still incumbent on them wanting to work.
That's right.
But if we give them the skill.
You got plumbers, electricians, carpenters. But when you got children that won't walk to the mailbox and get the mail, or they won't mow the yard, you got them in there playing game, and you're in there calling the phones, hey, man, what do you charge to mow my yard? It starts at home.
You're right.
Do you know how many kids I have? Take a wild guess.
Okay, let me look at you.
If I grew my beard out, it'd be very gray.
Hold on. I'd look at you and say you about 6 or 7. I can tell by looking at you.
7.
I know.
Yeah.
I got 11.
11.
No, I'm lying. I got 3.
Okay.
I do got 11 grandkids.
I heard somebody laughing in the background.
But I do got a grandson. Hey, think about my grandson. He's in the United States Marine Corps. I can't tell you where he's at because he can't tell me, but he's in the Middle East. And now the first Marine assault that got sent over, he's a corporal, And they run the Marine Corps. That's where he's at over there. So say a prayer for my grandson and say a prayer for Donald Trump and Hesbin, the one that taking care of these soldiers, that they have the correct knowledge and the correct leadership to get these boys back home safe.
I agree with that.
I worry all the time about my grandson.
But
he's a patriot, 100%. My whole family's patriots.
Well, and the Lord's in control. So
he is.
Yeah.
He is. But we got to make sure that he remembers that, these
two things. You know what I always say? Without the military and farmers, we'd be naked, hungry, and afraid.
Yeah, we didn't have mechanics. You'd be naked, hungry, and afraid, walking.
Only Weatherford's going to do that.
But we and I take cut for mechanics. We never get credit that keeps the fire trucks going.
Right.
God, yes, we need to bless the first responders, sure. But what about the guy that keeps the fire trucks running?
Yeah.
The police, back to blue. Back to guys in Greece too. They kept that patrol car running. There's more to it than just what you think.
Certainly.
You're right.
Man,
everybody's got a place in this environment.
But I'm going to tell you, I tell these children when I go speak at places to get these children to come into my trade.
Do they let you speak to elementary school kids?
Very few, but I have.
That's scary, ended, Andy. That is scary.
Hey, you'd be surprised.
Oh, I'm sure you do a great job.
But you're right, it is surprising. I tell them there's going to become a day when a man that will take a fence pole digger and go out there in somebody's yard, dig a hole, and drop a post in it will make more than a doctor.
Well, we're about there right now.
Almost here.
Yeah, that's exactly
Try
right.
your plumber, try your electrician. They don't care. They'll look at you and they'll say, Mike, I'm busy, I'm behind, and, I can't get no help. Nobody can get no. I don't care. Every industry, I know them in all of them. Been in business 40 years.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, every industry I know of, short-handed, and I don't know where in the hell they're at, how they're living. They're up and down the road by my shop over every day, and they still got their pajamas on and their flip-flops at dinner, getting a Coke out of the Coke machine. I don't know how the hell.
Well,
I'm the dumb one. I have
what?
to get up at 5:30 every morning, get ready for work, 6 o'clock. Why? And they don't get up till 10. They got a car, they got gas, they got a Pepsi, they got. That's a different story. That's a different.
Well,
show.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll bring my post hole digger up to your.
I don't want to dig.
I don't want you to use it.
What do you see on them hands, Commissioner?
Yeah, you see some good calluses.
That's right.
I don't want you to use it. I want you to take it out there and stick it in your yard.
Right.
Come back in 3 months. That post hole digger's still gonna be there.
Oh,
Ain't
nobody gonna steal no post hole digger. Hell, no. I thought they wouldn't know what it was.
I actually have a PhD. I don't know if I told you that or not, but post hole digger.
Yeah.
So that's my
I
one of my certifications.
I get it. That's me.
Absolutely.
My daddy taught me when I was a kid. He said, "Son, you wasn't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You was born with a shovel up your hind end. You better jerk it out and learn how to use it if you're gonna make a living in this old rough world." And he was right.
You're right.
Andy, I've told you twice to let you go. The last time was 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's 8:27.
Man, I
Thank you.
appreciate it. I think you're a great man.
Well,
and I think you're really passionate about your job. And
I'm
I like to
certainly
see our
passionate.
politicians. I'm going to consider you a politician.
Oh! Don't say that. Now.
Well, you are.
No, that's,
when they're passionate about your job, I believe that you really believe in what you're doing. And I think that you're doing a great job at it. I think you're really passionate about it. I think you really, truly, deep down inside, are a farmer. And you understand what this country needs or what the state needs when it comes to farming. I think you're trying to do it. I appreciate guys like you. We need more of y'all.
Appreciate you. Appreciate the mechanic in you, and appreciate the communicator in you, and appreciate the fact that you got good mutual friends with me.
I do got good friends. All right, folks, there you go. We've been talking with Commissioner Andy Holt. He is the commissioner for Tennessee Department of Agriculture. We've wandered everywhere because, believe it or not, I don't know what the hell he does, and I know a little bit more now. And I can't be the only one that says that.
No,
I didn't think so.
Yeah, no,
and because but I'm not real smart. But still, I think he did a great job on kind of telling us what he does, how he does it, and it's a very important position. We have to make sure that we're getting a gallon of milk when we pay for it. I want to get what I'm paying for, and I want to make sure that the food we get is clean. I want to make sure that these farmers are getting the best deal they can. Because like I said, a farmer, they buy everything retail, then we sell everything wholesale. So it's kind of a messed up deal. Hey, next week we've got a great show coming up. You're going to like this one because they're going to set me up your humble host. I can feel it coming. There might be some gunshots coming up in here.
It's the kangaroo.
It might be a gun shooting up in here. But you won't believe what's in West Tennessee. We have got Tasha Gurley. She is from Southland Safari. That's over around Yuma, Clarksburg area. She's bringing in some animals, going to show us, and we're going to talk about this safari. I think they've got hunting cabins, and they've got a lot of things. Tell your family and friends, if you watch this show, I'm going to help you save money when you go to Southland Safari. So all you got to do is tune in next week. We're going to be talking about Southland Safari. She's going to bring some animals in here. We're going to talk about all them. But the major thing is, this day and time, I'm going to help you save money when you take your children to Southland Safari. Don't miss, it's going to be a great show coming up next week right here on the Mike Weatherford Show. I want to appreciate everybody tuning in. I want to thank my viewers. Hey, we had a great show tonight. Thank my sponsors. Without y'all, I couldn't do what I do, which is sit up here and nobody can tell me what I do.
Look pretty.
Look pretty. They tell me in the back a lot of things I do. But anyway, I want to thank my crew in the back. I got a great crew back there. Them guys, man, they really are. Kevin Keel, the producer of the show. Scott Norwood, I guess he kind of director, maybe camera operator. And Dana Allen, she's the one that keeps me straight. That's a full-time job. It's probably 24 hours a day. She has 26. She's on me constantly about something. If she's not texting me, she's calling me, or she's saying, "Shut your mouth. You said too much. Let's go home." But anyway, I want to thank you, the viewer, again. If you haven't done it yet, reach over whatever platform you're watching on and follow the Mike Weatherford Show on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, all the platforms, whatever bells you ring, whatever whistles you do, just do it. And tell your friends about us. Tune in next week, same time, same place. And like I always say, help me out, Ricky. Help me out, Commissioner. Don't be late. The Mike Weatherford Show is recorded live in the Brewer Street Mafia Studios in downtown Paris. A Kill Media, Brewer Street Mafia Productions.